On the remote planet of Xylaris, nestled amidst jagged mountains and dense alien forests, stood the Pinnacle Research Facility. A fortress of glass and steel, it was a beacon of technological advancement and scientific discovery. Within its walls, some of the galaxy's most brilliant minds worked tirelessly, pushing the boundaries of xenobiology and alien technology. Among them was Dr. Emma Collins, a renowned scientist celebrated for her groundbreaking research on alien life forms. Dr. Collins had dedicated her life to the pursuit of knowledge. Her contributions to xenobiology were unparalleled, earning her respect and admiration across the scientific community. She was known for her meticulous approach, unyielding curiosity, and a strong ethical compass that guided her work. Despite the accolades, Emma's growing unease with the facility's methods weighed heavily on her conscience. Pinnacle Research Facility was funded by the powerful conglomerate, Titan Corp., notorious for its ruthless pursuit of profit. The facility operated under tight security, with restricted access areas and heavily guarded labs. As Emma delved deeper into her research, she couldn't ignore the whispers of unethical practices and the unsettling experiments rumored to occur in the restricted sections of the facility. Her growing discomfort was exacerbated by the cold, clinical environment that prioritized results over morality. One evening, driven by curiosity and a nagging sense of dread, Emma decided to explore the restricted section of the facility. She navigated through the labyrinthine corridors, her heart pounding as she bypassed security protocols and avoided patrolling guards. It was in the dimly lit depths of the facility that she stumbled upon a hidden laboratory, its sterile walls lined with containment units and advanced equipment. In the center of the lab, Emma's gaze fell upon a small, fragile figure encased in a glass chamber. The child, Eris, was an alien being unlike any she had encountered before. His delicate frame shimmered with an ethereal glow, and his large, luminescent eyes held a mixture of fear and innocence. Emma's initial awe quickly turned to horror as she observed the inhumane experiments being conducted on the young alien. Eris was subjected to constant monitoring, invasive procedures, and painful tests aimed at exploiting his unique abilities. The sight of the child's suffering was a stark contrast to the sterile, clinical surroundings. Emma's heart ached as she realized the extent of the facility's unethical practices. The child was not just a subject of study, he was a prisoner, trapped in a nightmare of scientific exploitation. Torn between her duty as a scientist and her moral convictions, Emma grappled with the gravity of the situation. She knew that freeing Eris would mean sacrificing her career, reputation, and possibly her freedom. The stakes were immense, but so was the weight of her conscience. She couldn't stand by and allow the child to suffer any longer. Driven by compassion and a deep sense of responsibility, Emma made the difficult decision to save Eris. She meticulously formulated a plan, using her knowledge of the facility's security systems and protocols to devise a covert escape route. Emma gathered supplies, including a portable containment unit to safely transport Eris, and mapped out their journey through the labyrinthine corridors. As she prepared for their daring escape, Emma's resolve strengthened. She understood the risks involved and the potential consequences, but her determination to protect Eris outweighed her fears. With a final glance around her lab, Emma steeled herself for the task ahead. She knew that once they left the facility, there would be no turning back. The journey to freedom and safety would be perilous, but it was a journey she was willing to undertake for the sake of the innocent child. In the dead of night, with the facility shrouded in silence, Emma initiated her plan. She carefully extracted Eris from the containment chamber, cradling his fragile form in her arms. The young alien clung to her, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and trust. Together, they began their treacherous journey through the facility, navigating past security checkpoints and avoiding detection. Each step brought them closer to freedom and further from the confines of Pinnacle Research Facility. The night air was thick with tension as Emma and Eris began their escape from the Pinnacle Research Facility. Emma's heart pounded as she guided Eris through the dimly lit corridors, her mind racing with the layout of the facility. She had spent countless hours studying the security systems, knowing this knowledge would be crucial to their survival. Each step was calculated, every movement deliberate as they made their way past patrolling guards and surveillance cameras. Their first challenge came at a security checkpoint. Emma whispered instructions to Eris, who clung to her hand, his eyes wide with fear. She tapped into her knowledge of the facility's protocols, using a stolen access card to bypass the lock. The door slid open silently, and they slipped through, holding their breath as a guard passed by, oblivious to their presence. As they continued, they encountered several close calls. At one point, the alarm was triggered, and red lights flashed throughout the corridor. Emma pressed Eris against the wall, shielding him with her body as guards rushed past. She knew they had only seconds to act. When the coast was clear, they resumed their desperate journey, moving swiftly and silently. Finally, they reached the outer perimeter of the facility. The last obstacle was a high-security gate. Emma hacked into the control panel, her hands trembling with urgency. The gate creaked open just enough for them to slip through. As they stepped into the wilderness surrounding the facility, Emma felt a wave of relief wash over her. They had made it out, but the real challenge was just beginning. The wilderness outside the facility was harsh and unforgiving. Dense alien forests, rocky terrains, and unpredictable weather posed constant threats. Emma knew they had to keep moving to avoid being tracked down by the facility's security forces. Her scientific knowledge and survival skills became their lifeline. Finding food and water in the alien landscape was a daily challenge. Emma identified edible plants and safe water sources, teaching Eris how to survive in the wild. They built makeshift shelters from available materials, using natural camouflage to remain hidden. The nights were cold and filled with strange sounds, but they learned to find comfort in each other's presence. The constant threat of pursuit kept them on edge. Drones patrolled the skies, and search parties combed the area. Emma used her knowledge of the facility's technology to stay one step ahead, creating decoys and covering their tracks. They moved from place to place, never staying in one location for too long. Despite the fear and uncertainty, Emma remained determined to protect Eris and find a safe haven. As days turned into weeks, a deep bond began to form between Emma and Eris. In the beginning, Eris was shy and fearful, hesitant to trust anyone after his traumatic experiences. But Emma's gentle care and unwavering commitment gradually broke down his walls. She taught him about the world outside the facility, explaining the stars and the different life forms they encountered. Eris, in turn, shared his unique abilities with Emma. He could communicate telepathically, sense emotions, and manipulate small objects with his mind. These abilities, once exploited by the facility, became tools for their survival. Emma marveled at his resilience and intelligence, realizing how special he truly was. Their growing relationship was marked by moments of tenderness and mutual understanding. Emma would hold Eris during the cold nights, soothing his fears with stories of her life on Earth. Eris, despite his young age, comforted Emma in return, sensing her worries and offering silent support. They relied on each other, their bond strengthening their resolve to stay free and find a better future. Together, they faced the challenges of their journey with determination and hope. Emma's sacrifice and Eris's courage fueled their will to survive. They became a family, bound by love and the shared goal of finding a place where they could live without fear. Emma knew that their life on the run couldn't last forever. The only way to truly protect Eris and stop the inhumane practices at the Pinnacle Research Facility was to expose their actions to the public. Determined, she began to formulate a plan to gather irrefutable evidence and broadcast it galaxy-wide. Emma reached out to old allies from her academic and professional circles, people she trusted who were also disillusioned by the facility's methods. These allies helped her access underground networks and resistance groups who had the means to support her mission. She explained the stakes and her plan to them, gaining their commitment despite the high risks involved. The plan was complex and dangerous. They needed to infiltrate the facility to gather undeniable evidence of the unethical experiments. Emma's contacts provided her with new identities, advanced disguises, and the latest in stealth technology. They also set up a secure communication channel to coordinate the mission and ensure the evidence reached the right hands once it was gathered. Emma and Eris trained rigorously for the mission. She taught him how to use his abilities strategically, while she honed her skills in infiltration and hacking. The bond between them grew even stronger as they prepared, each understanding the risks but resolute in their determination. The time had come to take a stand against the facility and its cruel practices. The infiltration began under the cover of darkness. Emma and Eris, using their disguises and stealth technology, managed to slip past the outer defenses of the facility. Their first target was the records room, where they needed to collect documents and recordings of the experiments conducted on Eris and other alien subjects. As they navigated the facility, they encountered numerous obstacles. Security had been heightened since their escape, with guards patrolling in tighter formations and surveillance systems upgraded. Emma used her knowledge of the facility's layout to avoid detection, while Eris utilized his telepathic abilities to sense approaching threats and guide them safely. In one tense moment, they had to hide in a storage closet as a patrol passed by, their breaths held as the guards' footsteps echoed in the hallway. Another time, they narrowly avoided triggering a silent alarm, Eris's quick thinking disabling the device just in time. Each close call heightened the stakes, but they pressed on, driven by the urgency of their mission. Finally, they reached the records room. Emma hacked into the terminal, downloading files and video footage documenting the facility's atrocities. They found detailed logs of the experiments, the suffering inflicted on countless subjects, and the unethical practices sanctioned by Titan Corp. Armed with this damning evidence, they prepared for the final and most dangerous phase of their plan. The climax of their mission involved breaking into the facility's main data center to transmit the gathered evidence. This area was the most heavily guarded, with multiple security layers designed to prevent unauthorized access. Emma and Eris knew they had one shot at this, and failure was not an option. Using a combination of stealth and Eris's abilities, they navigated through the high-security areas, avoiding laser tripwires and biometric scanners. The tension was palpable as they reached the data center's entrance. Emma bypassed the security lock, her fingers flying over the keypad while Eris kept watch. Inside the data center, Emma quickly accessed the main terminal, uploading the evidence to the secure communication channels established by their allies. The transmission began, and Emma could see the data being broadcasted to news outlets and resistance networks across the galaxy. Just as the upload completed, alarms blared throughout the facility. Security forces converged on their location. Emma turned to Eris, her eyes filled with urgency. "You need to go now," she urged. "I'll hold them off." Eris hesitated, but Emma's firm resolve gave him the strength to flee. As Eris slipped away, Emma prepared for the inevitable confrontation. The guards burst in, and Emma was quickly overpowered and captured. But the evidence had been successfully transmitted. Emma's sacrifice ensured that the galaxy would know the truth about the Pinnacle Research Facility and Titan Corp's atrocities. Eris, now on his own, escaped into the night, carrying with him the hope that Emma's actions would bring about the change they had fought so hard for. The broadcast of the Pinnacle Research Facility's atrocities sparked a massive public outcry across the galaxy. As the damning evidence spread, it ignited widespread protests and demands for justice from all corners of the galaxy. People were horrified by the inhumane experiments and the blatant disregard for ethical standards displayed by Titan Corp. News outlets picked up the story, amplifying the outrage. Social media platforms were flooded with calls for accountability and the immediate shutdown of the facility. Alien and human rights organizations united, mobilizing protests and petitions. The outcry was too significant for the authorities to ignore. Under immense pressure, the Galactic Council launched an investigation into the facility's practices. Authorities stormed the Pinnacle Research Facility, shutting it down and seizing all records and equipment. The investigation revealed a trove of incriminating evidence, further validating the accusations. Scientists and executives involved in the unethical experiments were arrested and faced severe legal repercussions. In a sweeping move, the authorities liberated all captive aliens held at the facility. The rescued beings, including many young and vulnerable individuals, were given medical care and support to begin their recovery. Titan Corp faced enormous backlash, with lawsuits and sanctions that crippled the conglomerate. The galaxy had spoken, and justice was being served. Emma's role in exposing the facility came at a personal cost. She was captured during the final phase of the mission and charged with multiple crimes, including theft of proprietary information and espionage. Initially, she faced harsh treatment and the prospect of a lengthy imprisonment. However, the public quickly rallied to her defense. As the full extent of the facility's atrocities came to light, support for Emma grew exponentially. Legal battles ensued, with her allies and numerous human and alien rights organizations fighting tirelessly for her release. They argued that her actions, though illegal, were morally justified and essential for exposing the truth. Public opinion strongly favored Emma. Petitions for her release garnered millions of signatures, and demonstrations were held in her support. The overwhelming public pressure, combined with the undeniable righteousness of her actions, forced the authorities to reconsider her case. After a thorough review, all charges against her were dropped. Emma was released to a hero's welcome, her bravery and sacrifice celebrated across the galaxy. With the facility shut down and justice served, Emma and Eris found refuge among a group of allies who valued both human and alien lives. They settled in a peaceful community dedicated to promoting cooperation and understanding between species. This new beginning offered them a chance to heal and continue their important work. Emma used her extensive knowledge and expertise to help rehabilitate other liberated aliens. She established programs to provide medical care, psychological support, and education for those who had suffered under Titan Corp's regime. Her efforts were instrumental in helping many aliens regain their independence and dignity. Eris thrived in the safe environment, his unique abilities nurtured and respected. He became an ambassador for peace, working alongside Emma to foster understanding and unity between humans and aliens. Their bond, forged in the crucible of adversity, remained strong and unwavering. The story ended on a hopeful note, with Emma and Eris looking towards a future where their sacrifices had made a lasting impact on both human and alien societies. They knew challenges still lay ahead, but they faced them with renewed determination and hope. Together, they had not only survived but had also helped to create a more just and compassionate galaxy.